the Elastos name, I came up with the name in 2002. And of course, today it's all very obvious, but by 2002, okay, it's not that obvious. Elastos, elastic compute, right? Which meaning cloud computing, and which also implies virtual machines load and destroy on demand. Right? Virtual machine in the cloud, like a Docker kind of thing. We launch them by tens of thousands and destroy them. Because you have some hardware machines that are 10,000, but you can launch like 20,000 virtual machines. So of course, the first meaning of that is elastic compute. Of course, the second meaning of it is Elastos, which is the last ever OS, eternal OS. The reason why it's eternal is because I was a Microsoft design team for .NET, and .NET is actually a network OS, right, versus a device OS. In March of this year, I don't know, it's Microsoft announced that it's disbanding its Windows team no more, right? The Windows team is gone. Of course, we are in Silicon Valley, everyone hates Microsoft. Nobody pays attention to whatever Microsoft decides. I'm just basically telling you some old stories. I'm not either for or against Microsoft. The reason why it's disbanding its Windows is because of we're talking about in the past the operating systems for devices, whether it's for a PC, for a phone, for a video camera, for a router, right? They're all device OSs. And when we're talking about Internet of Things, we OS for IoT, IoT OS, most of the time, or more like 100% of the time, right? 99.9% of the time, people are talking about thing OS, but basically device OS. Like people my age, they introduced me. When I started to learn computers, we program paper tapes. We program on paper tapes and we program core memory. At that time, the computers didn't even have BIOS. The BIOS you have to memorize the first 13 instructions and toggle the switches, and then there's a switch called run. Then the paper tape start rolling, and then you read one reel of operating system, basic your application. Basically, you have these piles of paper tapes, and keep mounting them on and keep on reading. That's what's going on. Even though that lesson learned is that at that time, right, doing OS for the first machine I programmed was a 64K bytes mini computer. It's not even macro, because at that time, 64K bytes machine is about this big, a whole rack, okay, and without hard drive. So what I'm saying is that today people brag about IoT devices. They could write an operating system like 500K, 200K. People are so proud. But at that time, the whole machine is 64K, okay? So writing a small OS, of course, different black bulbs and video cameras and the sensors, they are different, so they require different kind of operating systems, which is really understandable. But then people shouldn't really brag about it. Nothing to be proud of for IoT. I mean the sensors, right? Make it small. Of course, you're a very good engineer, but then we've been done that. And what's hard really is Internet of Things. Is that we're talking about thing OS or we're talking about network OS? Correct? And what is a network OS versus a thing OS? Why Microsoft named it .NET instead of XP or something else, right? Windows 10, Windows 2000. We can look down on Microsoft any way you like, but we can never forget it's Xerox who invented Windows. It's Xerox who invented the Internet. It's Xerox who invented Smalltalk, BT, promoted the automated programming. So with that three big contributions, yet Xerox the computer society we have today. Okay, we shouldn't gone on Xerox even though they died. That said, like Microsoft in '98, they come up with the idea of designing a .NET. Of course, it died right with the Vista. I mean, it's still there, but it's a big failure, Windows Vista. But then it fails, actually. Go back. Two lessons learned. One is that when Microsoft decided to do Vista, to do .NET, they have to convince the executive team, they have to convince the whole company, we're going to give up on Win32, we're going to give up on NT, right? Which is not an easy task. Think about it, right? If you have a small team, to convince a company with 50,000 people, they're saying, hey guys, NTT has about 3,000 folks. Your work is done, what you're doing is garbage. And then we're going to start all over again. Do you think that's easy or hard, right? Obvious. It's very, very hard. So Microsoft nevertheless decided to switch to .NET and take the risk of doing Vista, right? So which meaning I abandoned Win32 at that time, decided to, at that time, it's only beta, Windows 2000 is beta. It's not even released yet. And we knew it's the end of its life. Why not? It's a story. It's a real. Win2000, everyone had high expectations, but internally we know it's pretty much doomed technology. And but then, of course, the second lesson learned is that the Vista was not a success either. But one thing is when inside a company saying something is dead, definitely is dead. It's just a matter of time. When you decide it's dead, it's truly dead, because definitely you have to justify why you want to abandon the technology, right? There are some simple reasons you have to abandon the technology, but then you have to have the courage to try new things. Failure is nothing to be ashamed of. Of course, it's a failure, but then when basically we're talking about it in Silicon Valley again, right? So the reason why it's called Elastos is because for the network, you can never predict the version number of a website. You can never predict the peripherals. They have a version number, because the old technology was you have a device driver. If you have a Win32, normally you have a Win98. You have a device driver which matches Win98. You have Windows 2000, you have to have a device driver which matches the Windows 2000, correct? But when we are talking about today, ambient computing, how can you tell the version number of this projector? Right? If I come saying, okay, I got a newer machine and this is an iPhone 8, you need to update your driver, but then someone else coming in, bringing an older phone saying, oh, come on, you have to downgrade your device driver. Right? Is it possible? It's impossible. Because seriously, all the peripherals that we program, they're all dummy peripherals. They have no CPUs in them. Remember? I don't know if you guys remember. But then, we call them TTYs. Those mechanical typewriters, right? ABC. Those are mechanical ones. So of course, you make it automate by putting what do you call, a relay. A relay with a mechanic, the current goes in and then generate the magnets and then sucking the mechanical arm and punch A, B, C, right? And by doing that, you have serial line and parallel line. So basically, you have those power up and down, right? The signal combinations. So then, actually, the teletype doesn't have a CPU. It's just a very simple circuitry, and you change the pattern. Then the relay turns on, which relay turns on, right? So the different arms punch the papers, right? I'll give you a printout. It's called TTY. It's a teletype, right? They still use that name, like a core down by teletype. And so at that time, all peripherals are dummy, and all the terminals, the screens, right, so-called dummy terminals. So that's why we require a device driver, because the software has to be on the motherboard, because there's nothing on the peripheral. But now with all the programmed. You need only $1 to do that. So now all peripherals are smart, all terminals are smart. Then basically you can look at two levels. At the physical level, at the hardware level, we're really a network, right? They're all CPUs with their own operating systems. They're just like a network. But on top of it, at the virtual level, there's still peripherals and motherboards and displays, right? And terminals. So now we're separating the machines into two layers, one physical, one virtual. So because of all peripherals are smart now, then we can actually design a system without device drivers. Basically, it's all distributed system. The so-called software as a service or hardware as a service. Everything else is a service. And with some standard protocols, you can find printer service, you find projector service, you can find search service, right? So that's how even in 1999, we realized it's possible to design an operating system without device drivers. Okay? And that early 20 years ago, we realized it's possible. And again, something else that we realized at that time is it's possible to design an operating system without daemons. Because of C Linux, there are daemons. When you turn on a machine, you got, if you turn on a PC profile, these are 50 of them running, right? And why you have daemons is because throughout the years, of course, you install some software like Acrobat, and you install iTunes. Every software you install, they have a daemon running in your background. When you turn on the machine, not only you waste your time, because it's all booting up, you really don't know, because through the path of this PC is 3 years old. Of course, in a period of 3 years, you may run into hundreds of applications. But today, am I going to use the 100? Well, there's a good probability that I don't. I only use very small subset. But why do they launch in the background? And if I make a wild guess, 99% of the errors is due to daemons. Because if, of course, every software there's bugs, there's loopholes, and no one is perfect, and there's always holes, right, and leaky bottoms everywhere. But then without daemons, like if this door I lost my lock or the window is broken, but if without daemons, who is going to steal anything from me? You know what I'm saying? Only the daemons will take advantage of exploit the loopholes and the backdoor, and there's problems, right? The software bugs. So without daemons, definitely we'll have much better, safer society, safer environment there. Of course, the daemons also steal your personal data from one machine to another and send it secretly sent back. So the third problem we realized at that time is that it's possible to design an operating system without internet. Without internet meaning, of course there's the internet, but then one thing is no drivers, no daemons. The third one is applications are now allowed to open up sockets. The applications are now allowed to send packets freely, because the device OS is okay, I'm the OS for this machine, and if the application want to go onto the internet, it's none of my business. If your data is being stolen, Microsoft will say, okay, I have nothing to do with it, right? It's a lame excuse, okay? Because of course, every time you click on to go online, it's application's responsibility, right? Because the application, the finance server, of course, they need a daemon to be the name server and launch the server and find it. That's a triangle there. And can we load the services on the fly without daemons? And can we prevent application from accessing the internet, yet we let it to access the website? Okay, it's done by something called reflection. What I'm saying is that basically giving you a comparison. I have a phone, you have a phone. With a phone number, I can call, correct? And if I can call from one phone number to another phone number, then I ask, let's say, Chris, and saying, what is the 1 plus 1? And can you move a bit left? Can you move a bit right? Right? Can you erase that 0? Can you write that 0? And of course, I can say that. And then maybe like 6 or 7 so-called Turing machine commands. If you follow, you're a Turing machine. So everybody here actually is Turing complete, correct? Yeah. It is, okay. So let me make a side comment. The blockchain society is so proud of their Turing complete. Actually, everybody's Turing complete, okay? Any CPU is Turing complete. There's really nothing to brag about, okay? That's just simple facts. And programming is not that hard anymore. And what I'm saying is that I'm a Turing machine, you're a Turing machine. If I call you, and if you are running fast, infinitely fast, you are a computer. And if I can talk infinitely fast, I'm a computer too, correct? And in that case, so I'm the application, you are the service, and I call you with a number, I reach you. But did I invoke any IP packets, or could we hack into the carrier? Can we hack into AT&T servers? Do we know whether this communication is through satellite, through fiber, through copper, through Wi-Fi? We have no idea, right? It's none of our business. We shouldn't be concerned at all, right? So this is the app, that's the service. We don't have to open up a pack, and we don't have to open up a TCP/IP so that we can communicate. That's a really simple paradigm. And given you do the programming, given the metadata, Java class, Java programming, you compile, you generate something called a dot class. And .NET, you program .NET, C#, you generate something called a .cls. But when you program C++, you generate something called a .obj. Okay? Then obj meaning kind of elements. All the class information is being stripped off. And because at that time the core memory got precious. And you want to save every bit possible, so you want to get rid of the function names, you want to get rid of the class names to save memory. But currently, the memory is just so cheap and so big, and you want to keep that thing. Because when you keep that class information or method names, and also you know the calling conventions, so you can do the marshalling package. And when you make RPC calls, I know where the parameters are, so I can package them and into a packet and send the email, send the letter automatically. And on the other side, you open the envelope and unpackage called marshalling, and to generate the call on the other side. So if you look at Windows 10 today, they don't have JNI anymore. Java calling C or C# calling C. I don't know how many of you are aware of that. JNI is not necessary anymore. Do you know? You know what JNI is, right? Developers. It's a Java native interface. So when you want to cross programming languages, like a JavaScript calling C or Java calling C, somehow you need a adaptation layer. You need a channel to go through cross programming languages. And JNI meaning the programmer has to program, how to unpack the stack, how to pack the stack into a different programming language and back, vice versa, the way on your back. But then, now given the class information, we could generate the code for the adaptation layer. So without disallow people to go through the JNI by hand. Then because Java is good, it's easy to program, it's a virtual machine, which fits the description of a cloud computing. But on the other hand, Java has two problems. Number one problem is that Java cannot write 100% of the programs. If Java cannot write 100% code, let's say if you want to write a deep learning algorithm, you want to write a game engine, you want to write a multimedia codec, you need to squeeze out every CPU cycle possible. So then the programmer will resort to the JNI. When you go down to the Linux level, all bets are off. The sandboxing of viruses, the daemons drivers. Basically, you send any package, you steal any information, you just send anywhere you like. So that means if you have a JNI, then the Java machine, Java virtual machine is the weak is the link, right? So as originally the original author of Java was saying, write once, run everywhere. And with the JNI, you write once, you debug everywhere. Okay? That was a well-known saying in the 90s even. So without JNI, meaning you cross different languages. If you can cross languages, actually you can cross domains. You can cross because different languages are actually in different processes. If you cross process, you cross machine. If you cross machine, you cross the internet. Given the internet right now, given the fiber optics, given we have the gigabit in and out of our homes, and it's fast enough. Okay, so then we can actually create proxy steps across the internet now. It's a trend. So one thing is even as early as 20 years ago, we realized that the principles. But today, unfortunately, not many people realize that's possible. So that's the main reason why Microsoft disbanding its Windows, because technology is so mature, they don't need Windows anymore. So that's why I was giving the name Elastos, Elastos, because there's no way you can predict the device driver versions. There's no way you can predict the other party you want to interact with. What version does he have? What version do I have? No version in which meaning it's eternal. And another thing important to be aware of is that they disband Windows, meaning they put kernels into BIOS. They put kernels into BIOS, they move everything up to virtual machines. It used to be multi-process, now it's multi-virtual machines. Virtual machine is not that hard because think about the core memory times, right? DOS, a single address space actually is a machine. We don't really need multi-process. Turing complete for computation purpose only. Do any kind of a computation, you need only one address space. You don't need to have multiple addresses. Multiple addresses is only for different tasks, different services. So when we talk about virtual machines on Elastos, we're literally talking about single address space. Runtime is only single address space. So I don't know how many people still know the term DOS, disk operating system, right? That was early 80s. But then the thing is, we need, so long as we have a process, address space plus a hard drive that we are operating, we are a machine. You need a computation, you need storage. That's a Turing machine. You need a finite automata, you need a tape. So that tape is, or paper tape is for the data, or code, for whatever, right? And then you have finite automata, that's for computation. So all you need is two things, storage and computation. So you need the process, you need the address space, you need the storage, then that's a machine. So we have a process, then we have a home directory. I mean, for each application, we'll give you a home directory, like Android, right? Give you a UID, give you a home directory. Then not only that, we now say it's not DOS anymore. Then we put the home directory being the cache and the cloud drive being the mass storage. So because as you've got fast enough network now, 5G and fiber optics. So then we're not saying that Elastos actually we're building a cloud box, so cloud drive-based virtual machine. So that's what we're building. So these virtual machines, and then another question is how do we put kernel into BIOS? The reason why we haven't done, because as I said, when I learned programming, there was no BIOS. We toggle switches. But then later on, there's a BIOS. Well, of course, most of the operating systems ignore BIOS. Right? When it boots up, and forget it. Just do everything on its own. The only way to put kernel into BIOS, the number of system APIs has to be fixed. Because the BIOS, the number of system APIs for BIOS is fixed. It cannot be because of the BIOS is for cloud computing, the BIOS is for Xbox, for gaming, the BIOS is for phone, the BIOS is for... So we have to say, how do we put a fixed number of APIs? How do we design the operating system with a fixed number of APIs, right? Because the POSIX or the Linux is actually adding functionalities by adding APIs. So you do a cloud computing, you add a few API, you do gaming machine, you add a few API, you do multimedia machine, you add a few API, or remove a few APIs. So it's not fixed. The only reason you can fix it is because then you can create a lock, you destroy a lock, create a thread, you destroy a thread. You create a service, destroy a service. All the functionalities are actually extended by service interfaces. And then you hook up the callbacks, right? As so long as you can describe how many interfaces you have, how many callbacks, how many synchronous callback, synchronous call, asynchronous call, and you describe these 4 kinds of calls and how many for each. If you can clearly spec out them, and then you have the operating system generate the call and messaging. Messaging have to be enqueued to the thread of caller, and this will call Microsoft and the operating system generate the calls. Okay, if you can do that, then you can so-called SaaS operating system, software as a service. That's a service. So that's why Microsoft came up with the term SaaS, software as a service. So that means in the future, all IoT devices are services, all services are services, all applications are services. They all, like software engineering-wise, they're all quarantined, they're all well-spec'd. So then we can have a finite number of APIs, a fixed number of APIs. That's why they have one so-called operating system which fits phone, tablets, PCs, and clouds. I don't know if you heard like peer-to-peer simply chose. It's like, basically try to ignore that Microsoft does not exist in the world. Okay? But then what I'm saying is that this is the facts. Okay? And then in that case, if you have fixed APIs, you can put kernels into BIOS. And then you save power. And you faster boot up time and much safer because you have drivers. And and everything else is a cloud. So that's basically Elastos OS, right? That's the internal. Because Microsoft saying Windows 10 and Windows 11. If you don't believe it, they get rid of the Windows team. Now you believe it, okay? But then I came out and I was just, it's a fluke, it's lucky I came up with the name on the airplane back to Seattle in 2002. And thinking, well, how should I name the operating system? Somehow I came up with the name. And the third meaning, of course, is it's a joke, but then it's a semi-truth. Elastos, right? It's an elastic compute. What is Elastos? You know, I learned the English word from Elastos, paint on the roof. And Elastos, basically, it's rubber. What's a rubber? It's a condom. What's a condom? Correct. So one day, because in China, the teens usually have a Chinese New Year dinners, right? So one Chinese New Year dinner about 5 or 7 years ago, I summarized what is Elastos. Actually, what we're building is a digital condom. It's true. It's true. Because of then I'm saying the third meaning actually is very meaningful today. It's why it's related to blockchain. Okay, I explained why it's cloud computing, because now we have to summarize back. Now the cloud computing, the virtual machines are going to spread all across the web. Not only the cloud servers have virtual machines, now we have virtual machines on the phones, in in the ambient environment, everything. Physical machine, virtual machine, they are the same thing. They're all like virtual machines on the web, regardless where. So it's ubiquitous. That's the very first meaning, Elastos. Second meaning, I said, is no versioning. It's a network. The third one, actually, it's a digital condom. The reason why it's digital condom is that, of course, we are trying to build a so-called digital economy, and people talk about value internet. Value internet meaning we share value, we share digital assets peer-to-peer. We all here because of the Bitcoin thing, just so hectic, and then we all know we can share Bitcoins between one another without an intermediary, without a bank. So when we share Bitcoin, basically we're sharing a number. I mean, of course, there's a ledger, decentralized ledger somewhere else, but then we are literally sharing 100 Bitcoin. That's a number I'm sending it to you. So let's just forget about, not to really go into, I don't know why people now always want to know how Bitcoin or how blockchain is implemented, because then people immediately start talking about hash, about POS, POW, and about the blockchain being decentralized or distributed or peer-to-peer network, and they talk too much. Because when we were in school, like learning about computers in the 70s, in the 80s, right? Of course, computers are very complicated. When you talk about Cray computer, when you talk about those supercomputers like Alibaba, Amazon computers, right? Fault-tolerant, real-time, and scientific computing. But no one bothers, right? For like a Cray computer, if you see those supercomputers, they have racks of computers and interconnected with something called butterfly bus, star bus, hypercube bus, right? Those are the terms of fading from my memory, but they're there. To consumers, no one give a, right? No one pay attention what kind of bus is used in a supercomputer. You just think of it as a computer which is faster, or with a computer which is fault-tolerant. That's all. So what I'm seeing is that the blockchain, as for how the blockchain is done, it doesn't really matter. It's just a ledger which has, we trust that ledger more than we trust a bank ledger. Otherwise, a bank could do a ledger, one supercomputer can do a ledger. That ledger is just, we trust that more, that's all, with credit transfer. Otherwise, it's just ledger, right? But then, we share a Bitcoin one to another. If rather, then people start to imagine, can we build a digital smart economy? Can we share digital assets? If you share anything larger than a number, right? If you share a ebook, you share a game, you share some personal data, you share anything larger than data, actually, you cannot build a value internet. You cannot build a smart economy by sharing data. Because of today, we are sharing the reason why I named it the smart web. The old one was web, right? 1992 to 1995. There's a company, there's a Mosaic, there's a Netscape. Then you have a URL, you click URL, you download the web page. What is web page? Web page is data. Then we have social networks now. After 20 years, we have WeChat, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. We share photos, we share music, we share articles, we share links, correct? We just share links. So actually, we're still sharing data through social network. We call it information internet. But then we know there are only two things on the hard drive. If we're saying this is a new generation, this is a new internet, then what we're talking about are techies. If it's not sharing data, it must be sharing code. There are only two things on the hard drive, right? We know the old internet was sharing data, then what is the new internet? It's a new internet of code. Because if I give you data, the movies or the ebooks, how many times the data I create is being played, being manipulated? Do I know? If I don't own the code? You see what I'm trying to say? Because, of course, if I generate some contents, people copy it away, that's the first piracy. But if I give it to a channel doesn't tell me the truth because I sign up for a book, for a movie, they're supposed to give me copyright to have a profit sharing. But then if the media player played 1 million times, but the media player tell me they played only 100,000 times, right? The 90% of it is pure profit for the media player. So very often they don't tell you the truth. Or we send our data to YouTube. They just do whatever they do, right? Without letting me know, monetize out of my contents. So when we're saying you own your own data, like quite a few blockchain companies say you own your own data, actually it's not true. You own your own code. If you own your own data, you don't own anything. Okay, if you don't own your code, you don't really own anything, okay? So that said, if we turn data into code, actually it's not that hard because if you have a book and you have a template and you feed the book in, feed the PDF in, and give you a game, the game just plays itself. Just turn the pages. And you give it a movie, it give you back a game. The game just play the movie. Fast forward, fast backward, play, stop, pause. That's all, right? I think any college kids with a computer science degree should be able to do it. Generate that tool. And then, of course, when you package the file format, if you know operating system a little bit, you can package it in a way you put some metadata in, right? And what you do is, okay, who is owning it? And if you sell it, I get, let's say, 10% of the cut. I can specify in the metadata, right? How many people you know the iPhone, in the old Windows, if you purchase it for install on Windows, then you put a USB drive there, you copy the game out, then copy to a different Windows PC, it plays. But then for a game, for an iPhone, you download it, and if you open it up and copy it out of your hard drive and to a new phone, it's not going to play, right? Because of iPhones, actually the software is made packaged on demand. Because when you purchase something from the Apple Store, you first send Apple, this is an ARM CPU, and this serial number is such, and then it'll compile it for you and download. So if you copy this code to a different iPhone, simply it's not going to run, correct? So what I'm saying is now we want to do peer-to-peer sharing of digital assets. Every time we copy to someone else, we repackage. And who's the middleman we keep track of, and they all get a cut. Okay, and because there's the code, every time we load the code, we're going to check against the blockchain. Do you still own it? If you don't own it, because if I send you this, if I'm sending you my ebook, right, I still have the bits on my hard drive. But then the blockchain have recorded I don't own it anymore. So that when you load it, simply the loader just refuses to load anymore. Okay? So what I'm saying is, when we talk about smart economy, when we talk about sharing digital assets to peer-to-peer, we're literally talking about sharing code peer-to-peer. Of course, then, we use the blockchain to issue decentralized IDs. We use the blockchain to keep track of the provenance. We use the blockchain to keep track of the scarcity, because we have 10,000 copies of books in circulation, but only 10,000 tokens. Each token is tied to a piece of that binary, okay? So then, of course, the blockchains are very useful, but then we never forget a bigger problem is that, see, Microsoft used to keep track of how many DVDs it's printed. The Windows or Office, right? They published, let's say, 100 million Windows. When I was there, actually it's about 100 million. Each year, 98, Microsoft sold 100 million operating systems to the market. So they have a centralized computer ledger to keep track of the published 100 million Windows, okay? Now we're so proud saying, hey, now after 20 years, We don't need Microsoft's centralized ledger anymore. We can do a decentralized ledger, by the way. It's fast enough. Enough transaction per second. We can do a decentralized ledger, keep track of 100 million copies sold. Did we solve any problems? The DVD is pirated on the Chinese market. You see what I'm trying to say? I mean, by solving the centralized ledger and give it a decentralized, you don't solve any problems. Okay? Without preventing piracy of your digital assets, the decentralized ledger really is in vain. It's hopeless. Okay? But then, in order to share code, then you know why I named it digital content. Okay? Right? Because if sharing code is nothing new, I can send you executable through email 30 years ago. No problem. But then throughout the 30 years, we all learned our lessons hard way. Okay? If you click on that executable, what's going to happen? Your PC will be infected. Okay? Then what do you need? Because you're infected by virus, right? You need a condom to play safe, correct? So that's why you need to build virtual machines. And this virtual machine, not only it's a virtual machine, because the reason why I have the third property, because Amazon has virtual machines, but that virtual machine is Linux. The third one I'm saying is the virtual machine absolutely cannot be Linux. Okay? Linux is for grandpas now. Virtual machines, this virtual machine, there's no way I let the virtual machine to access internet. Because Linux, you can directly send packets, right? If you have millions of them, they launch DDoS attacks. They steal other people's information, correct? They fake their identities. But if the virtual machines, whatever holding that digital content, they cannot directly send messages out. They cannot spread virus. They cannot launch DDoS attacks. They cannot steal your information. Because when you unscramble the ebook, there's no way it's going to copy it out somewhere, right? Do the Paris. Of course, people. Then there's someone telling me, I learned every time, telling me that there's an Israel agency proof that you read this thing. Because there's no way you send it out, because some, there's a wallet, right? When you do the crypto wallet. And of course, the first thing, the code wallet, the first thing I do is just turn into the airplane mode, and I don't let my code wallet access the internet, correct? But then the people are telling me there's an Israeli agency proof that they hacked into the system and put a virus in that flashes the screen, and then there's a light bulb receiving the signal. And that's beyond me. I mean, that's too hard. You put a sensor there detecting the flash of the screen and passing the information out. Maybe that's for the real professional, 007 kind of size, but not for preventing someone steal your ebook. Okay, but it's just basically a cost issue. You want $20 a movie, right? You want to parse the movie, or you want to pay that $20. It's not worth your while to fake the light bulb and to just basically steal $20. I forget it. So what I'm saying is this kind of virtual machine now is completely possible. And we are doing this thing. Today we're going to announce that we have the, pretty much that's, I'll conclude my talk. First of all, what we're doing is we get rid of the middleman. Who is the middleman? The largest middleman is the media player. So in a broad sense, the largest middleman, the evil, is software. Software actually is evil, okay? As I said, because people create data, it's the software reading and producing the data, okay? So if we want to own our own data, we have to own our code. That's the issue number one. Issue number that needs the virtual machine. Issue number two actually is the carrier. It's the decentralized. It's the carrier. Who is the carrier? Of course, AT&T is the carrier. But then anything between two parties, that's say, a blogger, a reader. Who is between blogger and reader, right? It's Facebook. And we all know Facebook did something recently, correct? Well, what about Twitter? What about YouTube? When somebody produces the video, and somebody is reading the video, and then that's carrier in the broad sense. Okay, can we have the like a blockchain self-autonomous driving? We have autonomous driving vehicles. So blockchain actually is an autonomous driving specialized computer. It's not even totally complete. It's a ledger. It's a self-driving ledger. But then can we leverage that to generate, to produce a self-driving IoT peer-to-peer network? Why it's important today, there's a Google I/O and there's a smart speaker at home. And you say, hello Google, what's the weather, right? And of course, Google being the carrier there, we trust Google. But then if you buy a smart router, smart speaker somewhere else, there's always a middleman there. I don't know if you heard, people broadcast people's other folks' surveillance camera to the internet, right? And if you have a speaker, you really don't know. Of course, you got convenience, hello Google. Hey, but then who else is listening? Okay? And then can we have everything open source under the scrutiny of everyone, yet this network is autonomously running? When it's autonomously running, no one's listening because operating systems have no interest reading your, play your music or listening to your talk, right? Because it's all, that's what we're building. We're building a decentralized carrier, all open source, just like a blockchain is open source, yet you cannot steal Bitcoin from other wallet. Then can we have a peer-to-peer network, all open source and end-to-end encrypted? You cannot steal other people's information. So I'm proud to announce we have this decentralized peer-to-peer network uploaded to GitHub already. It's there, okay, completely open source. And we're going to have the personal cloud. You have a hard drive or a Raspberry Pi actually. You put it in your home, so then your PC can access the data from your home. And as we speak, it should be uploaded today or tomorrow, should be there. And of course, on top of that, we're going to build cameras. Then we're going to build virtual machines. And we're going to use decentralized IDs to assign for each device, for each user, for each macro website. So we're literally building, after the cloud drive, we're going to build macro websites. And on the phone, we're going to build a new browser that pretty much you can think of it as a Chrome without HTTP, because we don't let anything get onto the internet directly. But then otherwise, it's just Chrome. It just browses everything, and we just get the fetch the data on your behalf. That's all. So this one, this part hasn't been done yet, but then I've seen the Hello World is running in our lab. So it should be there somewhere in end of July. It should be there. And so we're going to have a hackathon in China in 2 weeks. In China, we're basically trying to do some IoT-related projects. So starting almost immediately. And then this new kind of smart web will be started in August. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Kevin, who's our lead head of the developer community, and he's going to talk about the bounty programs, because we definitely realize there are more talents in California or everywhere else in the world, right? Because we need all the help we're doing, and we're okay.
Yeah, I can drink some water. I think it's the right time. And yeah, first, thank you for coming. I'm Kevin Zhang. My last name is Zhang. A lot of people do not know how to pronounce that. or spelling correctly. I know KP today made a mistake spelling my last name, so I tell them I just short Kevin C. So not everybody know how to pronounce that. It's a common Kevin from Kevin C. I joined Elastos not too long ago, just 2 months ago. So when I just talked to Elastos, when I went to China to talk to the developer team, talk to the founder Ron, and other developers, I figured out, you guys make a crazy dream. You are trying to do something really crazy. It's a lot of work. When I come to the Elastos, it's not only a blockchain. Some people thought the blockchain project compared with like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe yours. People talking about that, but actually, in my mind, Elastos is more than that. Yes, they do have a blockchain. We have a blockchain itself, like main chain, sub chain, and consensus model between the chains. It's pretty complicated. We can have a deeper talk later about the chain, but that is just maybe 20% of our work. As Ron just said, we have to have a huge runtime. It's a virtual machine. That could be 80% of work. So in that virtual machine, we have core components, we have API, we have SDK, we have developer tools, we have a lot of things on top of that. That's huge work. So I talked to those developers, you guys are crazy, you are building Microsoft plus Apple plus Google with only 40 people. You guys crazy? I think we are crazy, right? It's not possible. But how we can do that? Not only for the developers, the code-developers, but for me, like I was assigned to be here. I'm based in California, the Bay Area. My responsibility is like introduce Elastos to the global team. I need to build a California team. More importantly, I'm going to build a community, a developer community globally. So there's tons of work to do. At least a few of them, like I need to find a community member to contribute to Elastos. I need to find a community member to contribute to the core code. And also invest in a rockstar project. It's a lot of work. It's not possible for me and with a few team members to do those kind of work. It's not possible. So why don't we invite everybody to join us together? We can build together. Luckily, we have, if you read the white paper, you will know we have 16 million of the ELA, our token.
It's reserved for the ecosystem and the community. So why don't we use that kind of money to the reward to the people, especially developers, to contribute to the system? So I know everybody likes Elastos, right? That's why you are here, right? You believe in Elastos, right? Yes or no? Yes. Louder. Yes. Okay. Awesome. But yeah, thank you very much. But besides that, I know you want to contribute, even if there's no reward, of course, because you believe in it. But what if you can get some additional reward, money, to get from the community while you do the contribution? It may not be enough to buy a house in San Francisco, but it will be enough for you to make a decent life. And especially, consider this, Elastos right now is just in the ramp. It's not start yet. So you contribute today, you get ELA, and in the future, I just mentioned, Elastos is Microsoft plus Apple plus Google. It's huge. So once you get to that point, okay, buy a house. It's a piece of cake, right? Well, let's go back to the topic. There's many ways we can get ELA. Like people who has a deeper pocket can go to the exchange to buy, or you can try to do mining. But I can tell you, it's not a lot of chance. You know who you are competing with, right? By the way, we do merge mining. And merge mining means the miner actually who is mining Bitcoin, doing the merge mining for ELA. So you are competing with those big bars who own a pool of ASIC mining machine. You have very less chance to win. But if you are a developer, or maybe not, we don't like to limit to developer. We actually open to any kind of person who can contribute to the community. You can do a work, like complete a task, and you can get an award. So that is what we call the Elastos Bounty Program. In short, we call it EBP, which is I'm going to announce today. So we're talking about the bounty program. So here's some background. You know, the blockchain is a new technology, and the biggest problem, not only for us, almost for every project, we don't have enough developer engineers to work on it. Not a lot of projects, especially right now, it's kind of easier to issue a new token, to write a white paper and go to some ICO. We got some kind of money, and seems to we can start, right? But actually, what if you don't have developers? It's happening. I mean, it's happening now. So it's the same for Elastos. In any place in the world, even in Silicon Valley, it's almost impossible to any company to get enough developers to work on the project, right? So in that case, we think, what if we just think differently? We just get rid of the traditional, like the company organization. We don't need the office. We don't need the people to get together. You know, we do something differently. So traditional company, I have been working for more than 20 years in many different countries, in different companies. I actually get tired of doing that. People get together and sitting somewhere called office and burning the investors' money and burning the time and slowly, gently kill each other. Yeah, stop doing that. So I just want everybody to contribute. We don't really care where you are. I don't care you are a U.S. citizen or you come from Indian or you are some people in France or in China. We don't really care. You know, we only care how much you can contribute. We care your skill sets, your time, especially passion. We need your passion. So you actually can contribute anywhere, full-time, part-time, no matter where, no matter what time zone you are. As long as you join our community, you join our bounty program, you actually can go to the task list, find some tasks you can do, you can provide your proposal, or sometimes work proof of work. And we have a committee to approve your work and we give you your reward. That's how it works, basically. We have I have read a pretty long introduction in the GitHub. So sometimes, if you have time, you can go to the GitHub. You can read the idea. It's just a rough idea. I just wrote it last week when I fly to Boston. I just write on the flight. It's pretty not very long, but you can still get some idea. The idea is EBP will be a web app. We actually just started working on that. The Clarence, that guy, he will talk about the progress later. We just started the web app. So in the future, once the application is done, you can go to some, I don't know the URL yet. You can go there to search for the tasks. It's a web app. Maybe some people ask, oh, hey, you guys doing the decentralized DApps, but why you EBP is centralized the web app? Well, here's the reason, because simply put, the Elastos is not ready yet. So we have to go to some traditional way using like cloud or full text web develop tools like React or Vue to build the application. But that is just temporary solution. In the future, we will move, after the Elastos is complete, we will move from the traditional cloud-based application to the DApp, maybe after 1 year. But anyway, we can start from the centralized web app. And in the EBP family, we have some children's, we have, by the way, I mentioned, not have to be developer to join the program. We actually looking for different kind of person. For example, if you know multiple languages, you speak both English and say French, you actually can help us translate some documents from English to French or from the French to English. Or if you're a social influencer, you don't know how to code, but actually you have a lot of followers. Good. Go ahead. You actually can translate, not translate, but broadcast our idea how we can use Elastos, how we build it to your your audience. We have a bunch of program. Like first one is ED. BP. It's a developers program, which simply put, it would be we have a lot of projects, and we cannot complete all of them. Especially a lot of programs related to the different community. For example, if we need a framework to connect Elastos to React, or connect to Elastos to Meteor, let's say whatever, we may need some people who know both skill set. So we cannot do everything. We cannot do everything, all the components. We need people to help. If you have the skill set, you actually can, we will list the program there and we issue, say it is 500 ELA. That project is maybe 1,000 ELA. So if you have the idea, you know how to do it, you can give us a proposal. And we can review your proposal, and we can issue the test to you. You can complete it, and then we review it. You did a good job, then we give you the ELA. Another kind of program would be like a competition, like hackathon. So we ask people to give us a new Elastos logo. We don't like this logo anymore. We want some new logo, and we give the ELA for like 1,000 ELA. I don't know how much, but assume it's 1,000 ELA. You actually can, maybe there are 200 people who propose their own, submit their own design, and we can put the design on the EBP program, and everybody can vote. So which one do you like best? Then the winner will get the 1,000 ELA. It's a kind of a competition way. And another kind of program is something like the proof of work. It's not the Bitcoin proof of work. It's, let's say, if you create a bug, if you found a bug, you issue a bug, or if you found some the potential problem, you just give us what you did, what you found, and we can give you the reward as well. So you just need to provide us what you did. Like the post matter or something, we can give you reward. So it's different way. Besides the developer, we also have the bug bounty program. Like you help us find the potential security problem, and we give you a reward. And also the leader bounty program, and the social bounty program is for the social influencer. You have a lot of, for example, you're a YouTuber, you have like 10,000 of followers. You actually, if you give us, you do something to tell other people how Elastos work, and we can give you some reward. The referral bounty program, and also the leader program, which means if you go to the community global page, we actually are looking for the local leaders in any other country, including US. We're looking for the leaders in your country. I don't know. I know a lot of people like currently is watch the video live streaming on YouTube. So in your country, if you are Elastos lover, you can organize some kind of a local community. You can actually submit your proposal to the GitHub, and we approve you to be the leader. And in the future, you can have similar kind of meetup in your country, your city, your university. And you will be the leader. We'll give you some reward on that. You just do something like this. It's just a leader reward. The basic idea is, as I mentioned, like the list of program, you give us a proposal, we review it. It's just kind of easy. We also have something I forgot to mention. It's called a peer-to-peer reward. So what the peer-to-peer reward is, because, for example, you are a developer, you doing some DApp on Elastos, you need some kind of library, you don't know how to do it. You actually ask a question on Stack Overflow or read the issue. So I need somebody help on this. And some other people from the community, he actually gave you a help. Maybe just give some idea, or maybe he just modify some code to fit your needs. So that guy helped you. You have the chance to vote to that guy. That guy will get reward from us, not you from us. What you need is you just tell us your story, how you are stuck somewhere, and how the other people help you. As long as we prove this is true, then we can give the reward to that guy. You don't have to pay anything. You just tell us what you got, then we can vote to that. It's called peer-to-peer. And another thing I need to mention is called voting power. Voting power is kind of similar to Steemit. Steemit has a kind of voting power. We are following that idea. So every time you get a reward from the EBP, for example, you get a 10 ELA reward by posting a message. And we also give you 10 voting power. It's a kind of a points in your account. And the voting power will expire if you don't use it. But how are we going to use it? You can use that for voting. Let's say we have a hackathon. We need everybody to vote who is the winner. You have the voting power, you can vote. And the amount of the voting power is the weight of your vote. So we do that for one simple reason. I only need the people who contribute to the community has the power to vote. We are not going to the power to everybody. They didn't do any contribution. They just have some ally, they can vote. No, I don't want that to happen. I only need the people who contribute, who vote, because your contribution is what you get, and you help the community go into the right direction. So that is the voting power. And I also encourage people to use that if we have an expiration date for the power. So I really want you to use it. If you don't use it, it's just gone. It's expired. So if you use it, you have vote to other people who you think have a great contribution, or you vote for other project you think that's the best, or you vote to another peer who helped you. You can use your voting power. Oh, this is the last. Could be the last page, I think. Just a quick update on the what currently is the developing status of the Elastos. The EBP program is just started, and after my talk, I can ask Clarence to talk about the progress of EBP. Hopefully, we can have the first draft version in a few weeks, 4 weeks. We can have something to run the basic version. Try to get everything as soon as possible. And even before that, before the EBP is done, you can still we can have the program right now, but we don't have the platform yet. So maybe very likely we just post on the Telegram channel or post on the GitHub, say, we need some people to translate the Chinese version of what kind of white paper translate to English, and I offer 10 ELA to do that. So anybody who know English and Chinese can do that work and give me your proposal, and I can give you the 10 ELA, something like that, before we have the EBP. Once we have the EBP ready, we can do everything on the platform. So in that case, everybody can see all the transactions, so everything go transparent. It's kind of fair to everybody. Another thing Rong just mentioned, the carrier is ready now. Carrier is one key component of the Elastos. It is a peer-to-peer network. Basically, it's something like eDonkey or like Napster or IPFS. IPFS has a library called Lab P2P, something like that. The only difference is the carrier actually transfer everything encrypted. Like I sent a message to Clarence. So when the message was getting out of my virtual machine, it has been encrypted, and through some relays to Clarence machine. And after getting that machine, the message will be encrypted by using his public key. So in that case, all the communication in between is totally nobody can hack what the message is at. It's a P2P network. I'm not going to take too much time on that, because if you really want to know what carrier running, how the carrier demo look like, you can just go to the YouTube channel. There will be a playlist link. The carrier is planned by Kevin Z. That's I made some video last week, so you can go there to see how the demo, how I run it. I also encourage everybody, if you have time, you can using the carrier to build your own application, your own secured Telegram in maybe 1 or 2 days. The demo you can see on the GitHub, it was done in just 1 week. Very easy, very quick. It's just one component. I'm not going to take too much today because we focus on the EBP today. If you're really interested, we can do it later or go to my YouTube channel. And the sidechain white paper was released yesterday. So if anybody follow our Telegram channel or Medium or Twitter, you actually already got it. I'm not going to spend too much. It's pretty complicated. And like a POW plus DPoS, and the two directions is different. Because your main chain to set chain is simple POS, and we go back, it's complicated. We have like an arbiter doing, well, anyway, we just stop there. It's very complicated. Maybe next week or next 2 weeks, when I have some time, I can record another YouTube video talking about the set chain, main chain. This would be a standalone topic. I'm not going to spend much today. The DID, a decentralized ID system, will be ready in June. So that is very important. As Ron just mentioned, we do the digital assets, and all the assets supposed to have an ID. That ID has to be decentralized. We're not going to use like the Google IDs or Apple ID or what kind of government ID. That is centralized. We do everything decentralized. Well, I believe you understand that because even our company, the Elastos Foundation, is decentralized. We don't have an office anywhere. It's Shanghai, Beijing, yes, we do, but we don't have an office here. We do everything decentralized. I hope everybody can work freely anywhere. We don't really want everybody to stay in somewhere kind of office. DID will be ready in June, and the Trinity. By the way, Trinity I didn't mention yet. That is a browser. It's not a browser. It's a modified version of browser. It will be the virtual machine Ron just mentioned. So the D app in the future will be running inside this Trinity, the browser. And it doesn't look like a browser because the typical browser have a address bar. I can type in www.google.com. We don't have that. We don't have that. We put the Elastos inside the browser, and when you open the browser, you actually can see all the icons, which is application, the D app, each icons, and also switch to another page, which will be assets. That's your digital assets, including your ID, your wallet, your ebook you bought, the movies, music, whatever assets you have is in another tab. You can sell everything on the browser. And the application running in Trinity is pure app. Just as Ron mentioned just now, we removed HTTP from the browser. So typically, or traditionally, we will make an application, a web app. Very likely, you're going to call either AJAX or WebSocket to somewhere in server to download data or JavaScript code, right? It's very typical. But now you cannot do that anymore. Everything you load from outside of this single machine has to go to a using carrier. I just mentioned the carrier to another ID. Could be somewhere in IPFS, and you get the module from there and running in your local virtual machine. So we guarantee all the traffic go to the P2P. You know where you get the code from, and because there is a digital signature, you actually know who actually signed the binary. If somebody actually modify anything, you can run a checksum. You know somebody modified that. It's not original, so you don't trust that. So this is a trust environment, and we guarantee the application running inside is secured, and we block the old HTTP. Yeah, this is a long talk. We don't talk too much today. Even we mentioned today is a deep dive into the technology, but the time limit, we actually cannot deep. We just a snorkeling, that's fine. We will have a series of deep dive later. And yeah, more coming up. And we're going to have it's an announcement for what we're going to do in few weeks or few months. I just started here for about 2 months, so we just started. We only have currently Faye is in charge of the PR marketing. I'm a dev. I'm a developer lead to community. I already signed 2 people to join us full time. Like Clarence is one of them, and another guy in Maryland. KP Woods. Maybe a lot of people know that guy. That guy's so famous. He helped us a lot. He made a lot of YouTube video, a lot of media posts. So he joined us in a few weeks. But no, most of the people you cannot join us. And as I mentioned, we are not going to be a centralized office here. So we do everything decentralized. So in that case, we will have a frequent meetups, online meetups. The first one we just set up a time like May 15, next week, right? Next week, yeah. We're going to have a first online meeting. I hope everybody, either in this meeting room or online, you can join. It could be a Zoom meeting. So everybody can join it. We can talk a lot in more deeper level about the technology, and we will have that kind of meeting frequently. Maybe I don't guarantee because it's just started, so I cannot guarantee it's a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. I cannot guarantee that, but we will have. I can guarantee we're going to do this kind of a meetup frequently. Um, we're going to have a hackathon. First will be in China, like May 12th. It will be this weekend, the first one. And somewhere in June or July, we're going to have a global one, the headquarters in San Francisco, Bay Area. It's global, so you don't have to come to San Francisco. You can just, if you're in Paris, you're in Berlin, you in China, you in India. We don't mind. We do everything global. In my mind, there's no border of in the world. I don't really care where you are. Just do global, so everybody can join the hackathon. We're going to give you a reward on the apps. Because a lot of module is not ready yet. So the first hackathon, we're going to focus on the carrier first. So we're going to let the team to use carrier to build any kind of application. The easiest one, maybe easiest is just doing something like a Telegram. It would be easiest, but you can use your mind to find something even cooler. So what kind of application you build, whatever, we don't mind. As long as you use the P2P network carrier, we consider you are qualified. And yeah, end of June, we're going to have a road tour to Europe, multiple countries. We haven't decided yet. I think Faye is working on that. We will release more later on the GitHub and our Twitter, official Twitter. We're going to have a roadshow to many countries, cities in Europe. We just like the meetup we have today. We're going to meet more developers in Europe to listen to them. What do they think about Elastos and what we can do to help them to build their local developer community. So that's the reason of the show. Here I have 2 links. One is Elastos community if you get in GitHub. Another is the GitHub global, because I assume everybody here are developers, so I don't really think there would be a problem for you to use GitHub, right? So you can just easily, some people like to use the Telegram. Some people, especially in China, like to use the WeChat to ask questions. I don't really fan of this kind of stuff because I don't have time to watch all the messages. It's just too fast. When I get up in the morning, I got 20,000 of a message in Telegram. How can I read all of them? It's not possible. So if you have any question, especially a serious question, I really encourage you to use GitHub. You can raise a issue in GitHub, and we will have some people to answer that. Even I don't know how to answer. I can forward the issue to some people, core team in China. They can help us to answer the questions. And if you want to modify something, it's simply just have a pull request. You modify something, you saying, oh, this is wrong, like spelling, maybe some typo. Likely, because English is not my first language. I always make typos. KP helped me a lot. Thank you, KP. He corrected a lot of mistakes I did. So if you find something wrong in the GitHub, easily just make a pull request, and some people like me, I will approve the pull request. So I believe GitHub is the best tools for the developer to use. Yes, that's it. That's it for me. We have a few minutes left, and I'll ask Karen to report the latest progress on the EBP program.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Clarence. Quick introduction. I've been a software engineer in San Francisco Bay Area about 5 years. My main focus is to improve the learning curve for for any developers. So developer support, building up that. But first order of business is obviously the EBP program. I have a cold. We just pretty much just started, but you can imagine it as kind of an online website where you can create an account, log in, track your progress, sign up for a team or join a project or submit proof of work online. So if you are a contributor to the community, you can submit proof, and we'll have like proper details on like, what tasks are worth what, how many ELA, et cetera. And later down the road, we'll be adding the voting power, so that'll be in your account. So it'll be kind of this online portal where you go and manage your community contributions. And we hope to be done. We will have our first launch end of this month. So 2 or 3 weeks. I start full time next week, and look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you so much, guys. And I just noticed we have people traveling from Chicago and from Indiana. So thank you so much for making the trips. And so I know that Clarence and Ron are both, having their code, and we've been having meetings, in different cities. So again, we're working hard, but without you guys, we couldn't make it happen. Ron's our visionary, and Kevin's in charge of the developers team. So we're gonna have take some questions from you guys, and then we'll have questions ready online from YouTube. So we'll take some questions from people online as well. So we have some drinks and food over there. So grab some food and drink, and we'll have Q&A in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
smartphones. But currently, we don't have the resources to boot up a raw machine currently. But we do. We are working on virtual machines running on Android, on iOS, and also we are working on virtual machines running Ubuntu. Because the reason why we want to run Ubuntu is for the cloud, because of we have people have a Docker in the cloud and Docker running Ubuntu. So the reason why we built 3 virtual machines because so we can have end-to-end solutions. The reason why the project is called a Trinity is because of, as I said, the client, the server, and the network. They are actually 3 in 1 now. And so if you have a PC, depends on which operating system you want to install. If you want to use Ubuntu, you may be able to run one of the run our virtual machine there as well.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Let's see. If my identity is on the network, should I be scared of accidentally losing my identity? Like, is it going to be on like a hard drive, or I'm just kind of curious. You know, well, like if I like own cryptocurrency and I have it, on my like ledger, if I was, a beginner, maybe I didn't write down my key and I lose it, and then, I'm just thinking, people not as to be more widely accepted. Is there any thought in, having people not be afraid, that they might lose everything?
Yeah, of course, I can immediately think of 2 ways of answer your questions. First of all, where identity is like decentralized is very much like the wallet of Bitcoin. So if you lose it, you lose it. Okay, if you cannot log. But then, the secondly, of course, you can. I mean, there's some central websites or like exchanges can hold your identity, very much like Bitcoins, right? But then in our case, we are thinking of a model like Kevin says. We are actually, there are some guys have already started doing the decentralized IAM, decentralized messaging, and we have a simple demo and like the JavaScript talking to one another. And that said, we're actually looking for people doing something very much like an email. So you can have a Gmail, you can have Outlook, you can have Yahoo Mail, whatever you prefer. Actually, they all have companies behind, right? Google is a big company running Gmail.com, and Microsoft's running Outlook.com, Yahoo is running Yahoo.com. I mean, that said, it doesn't mean company is centralized, because of so long as you can switch. If you're not happy with one email provider, you can switch to a different one. So the decentralized ID, you can imagine, you can have something pretty much like Instagram UI, and then the other one have like a Facebook kind of messenger kind of UI. The other one is like a WeChat kind of UI, but yet, well, they should be able to talk to one another, send messages, send photos, and create their own group, social groups, without interfering, like, for example, WeChat, if you put Alibaba's URL in there, simply they'll just cut you off. Okay, we just want to prevent that kind of things to happen. So what I'm saying is the UID could be managed by those, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo kind, right? So they're not really exchange, but then they're central companies. The other model is that people always have this impression saying, big companies, they're not peer-to-peer. Actually, if we're talking about 2 phones talking to one another, we are peer-to-peer, but since this is a computer, and no one prevents you from making this computer a supercomputer, and no one prevents you from making this computer a like Alibaba kind of a cloud computer. So we're still peer-to-peer. What I'm saying is we should get rid of the middleman, the carrier between the peer-to-peer. It's not because of the server is so big. Okay, and the other one is we should get rid of the software being the middleman, which does not really prevent you to launch like Lambda services that does not own data, right? You own your data, you feed it to the so-called serverless servers, and then they'll do the data mining on your behalf. So that should be fine too. What I'm saying is really there are big service providers out there. You are not really on your own, but yet it's still peer-to-peer. It's decentralized.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, why does Elastos need a token, and what is the use of it?
Well, Elastos use tokens because of Bitcoin. Actually, for the Bitcoin miners, they are there for a simple reason: for profit. Actually, they have no intention to steal your money from your wallet. Correct. So with the like 6,000 or 10,000 nodes running, right? Essentially, that gives us a side effect of the ledger being running autonomously. Correct. So we want not only the ELA ledger running autonomously, we also want the peer-to-peer network, the smart home peer-to-peer network, which is different from the blockchain peer-to-peer, running autonomously. In order to let it to run autonomously, we definitely need miners. Miners need to be rewarded, so we need to have ELA coins. And secondly, to answer your question, we are a self-sustained ecosystem. That said, because we're building a so-called smart web, we're going to have websites, those are called macro websites or real websites. Macro websites meaning the websites without IP addresses, because it's a peer-to-peer network. You can actually host your website from your home, right, without an IP address. That's why it's called a macro websites. And those macro websites, of course, will need to have domain names. When you create an anonymous ID, like basically it's a number, right? Like a U.S. Social Security number. If you just have a number, everyone's entitled to create a number for free. But then if you want to be called like a rongchen.id, or you want to be called a google.com, you need to pay some little fee, because otherwise people will just register all the names. Then, of course, we're going to have also search engines or page ranking, because if, of course, we're going to use open source ones and having everyone to read the source. And of course, you want to be fined before me. You want to pay a little bit more than me, correct? For the websites. I mean, if somebody hosting a video website or want to sell their used cars, they want to be searched, they have to pay some fees, which is reasonable. But then all I'm saying is that, so we are going to have wallets under the scrutiny of the public. The proceeds from those search engines, the proceeds from the domain name registrations will be used to subsidize whoever provides the hard drive, say IPFS, or who is doing the super nodes. In case of the peer-to-peer network, we have about usually the UDP kind of peer-to-peer network, they have so-called penetration rate of about 70 to 80% at the best in China's network condition. That said, there's still 20-some% needs to be relayed, the video, right? You cannot do the NAT directly to homes. So they need to have big supernode to relay videos. Whoever doing the video relay need to be rewarded, correct? So we're going to use the money collected to pay to subsidize the ones who are providing services. So to make it a ecosystem or a smart economy, self-running smart economy. So that's why we need the ELAs. But on the other hand, you can think of ELA as a gold standard, because we have 4% of inflation year over year compounded. It's not like Bitcoin. It's not, we're not going to run out of coins. So that means every year we issue more instead of it's a finite number. The reason is that we predict the economy will have slight inflation. Okay, and we don't debate on the macro websites. If you're on the sell ebooks, if you want to sell games, you may want to collect American dollars. But then if the website in China, they may want to collect RMB. right? And fiat money, we're not going to. So on Elastos, we now currently we don't charge gas fees, but then there are some transaction fees like Bitcoin. But then on top of the side chain, we're going to build side chains to help issuing tokens for different purposes, and we're not going to collect gas fees. It's up to the whoever issued the token if they want to run some smart contracts, right? They want to collect gas fees or transaction fees. That's their job, right? But as the Elastos, it's for free. We provide those smart. We intend to build like a neo smart contract, smart contract virtual machines, like Ethereum EVM virtual machines. But then we're going to port it to our sidechains. But then yet we're not going to charge gas fees on our behalf, right? If whoever providing the service may charge, but that's not what we are saying. So we support people to charge their own fiat money or charge their own gas fees, but that's not part of the proceeds or not a part of our so-called token economy. That's not part of ELA token economy.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm wondering if there will be like a decentralized Instagram that you can use through Elastos, or it's just going to be separate, like monetizable dApps that are just like, will you be able to use it through Instagram and have that secure or no?
Which Instagram? There's Instagram, or the Instagram customized for Elastos?
Just the actual, like the one that's owned by Mark Zuckerberg.
No, because you can think of Elastos because we're building a peer-to-peer network. It's very much like a blockchain. You have like 6,000 nodes, 10,000 nodes. So the 10,000 nodes forms a decentralized ledger. But to us, the peer-to-peer network, we call it a decentralized carrier. Actually, it's a Elastos carrier for short, because Elastos carrier is a decentralized carrier. And the decentralized carrier, of course, we're going to have nodes as well, like the home-based NAS, home-based gateways will form a peer-to-peer network for smart homes. And also we have super nodes running in Amazon, in Alibaba, in SoftBank servers. So that peer-to-peer network forms the new fenced garden or new territory for Elastos. So this is not the same as the conventional internet or web. So people can still use the free Facebook or other social networks the way it is. But then if you're running on Elastos, this is a new kind of app, right? And then we are building the a so-called a smart web browser. We just described the smart web browser will be named Elastos. It's more like the window to the new world. And of course, you can have your own versions of your quote-unquote Telegram or Instagram, but then it's not really the old one, right? Because you just basically maybe similar UI or similar whatever, or you give it a completely different name. Then you can think of that as more like a shortcut to the new territory, new world. So after all, this is a new fenced garden. We guarantee the security. We guarantee the DDoS, no DDoS attacks, and yeah, but not really make it much harder to have DDoS attacks or steal other people's data. Thanks.
We'll just take a last question.
Thanks. Will the 4% interest that's annual be compound? Okay.
All right, we'll take another question from you guys, and then we'll move over to the YouTube guys.
So when the main chain switches over to hybrid proof of stake and DPoS, have you guys set on the number of producer or delegate blocks that will be confirming blocks when you switch over, or is that still up in there? Still in there? Okay. Are you guys going to be kind of mapping it
after other DPoS systems currently? EOS has 21 producer blocks. Will you be looking at their system before you make the final decision?
We haven't decided yet. I think we only have the methodology. Like if you read the white paper, you will know the methodology. But we have a solid number how many applications, but we don't have that yet.
Okay.
We will be ready in 2 months, right?
I mean, that's the testing version. I don't think it's final. It will take at least another year or so, because we plan to have by the end of this year, we will have the merge mining open to everyone. We can buy the mining machines, we can mine Bitcoin and Elastos coin at the same time. Then the DPoS will come after that.
Online question.
Yeah, all right. So we'll take some online questions. And so I think KP is already getting the questions for us. So I'll just hand it over to Nick, who can get the questions for us.
Thanks. There's a question from the live stream asking that they've been told smart contracts like Neo Ethereum can be run as sidechains on top of Elastos. Which of those smart contracts would be supported right out of the gate, assuming everything is live? Is it fair to assume Neo would be the first one?
Kevin and I will talk about this. Actually, this will be on bounty programs. It depends on the volunteer or whoever raised their hand, showed up, and did it first, because we don't really have a bias towards either one.
And also, we really which one do you think you want to be the first, like a Neo?
Sorry. You also part of the bounty program. So which one do you prefer? I really want to ask the community. So you want the Neo to be the first, or the Ethereum to be the first? So I really want to hear from the community. And also I'm also looking for some people who can do that, because we don't have a developer to work on. All the developers are super busy right now. So if somebody is saying, okay, I'm a guru of the Ethereum, I can make the migration from the EVM from Ethereum to the Elastos the sidechain. So welcome, talk to me. We're really looking for this kind of person. So we're going to give you a lot of ally to do that.
Thank you. There's a question expanding on that same topic, asking if Trinity will have a DApp store, not to just allow Elastos DApps to be browsed, but also DApps that won't be using Elastos blockchain, maybe using other contracts from Neo and Ethereum again.
Well, in my mind, in my talk, I mentioned there are 2 kinds of DApps. In my opinion, but of course, one is the media player, decentralized media player, right? D media player, and the second one is the D carrier. Get rid of the carrier. Of course, I didn't mention the third one being the smart contract. Actually, is another kind of DApps. The reason why I didn't talk about it is because, in my mind, actually, among the 3, smart contract actually is the least important, which may offend a lot of blockchain community folks. But I do believe smart contract is the least important in terms of affecting people's lives. Okay, because I think today the secondary piracy is a very severe problem on the internet. That said, really, the smart contract being the DApp, we don't. I mean, because we're going to support sidechain, and if there's third party ported the EVMs or CRR, common language runtime, on top of the sidechain, we would be very happy to reward the contributor or help along. But on the other hand, all we're saying is that on this fenced garden we're building, so-called a smart contract, we are going to enforce unified IDs. It's more like an ID of the smart web, right? Because that's for free. It's just a hash, just a number. It's for free, and we don't want because if you have different kind of IDs, it's hard for system to justify to verify, because we need to verify the ID against because Elastos have a ID sidechain. So the whole smart web will check against the Elastos DID sidechain. That's the only thing we enforce. And also we enforce, because we're building a web as a computer, the inner workings of the computer, like whoever provide the hard drive, we can do reward. And whoever want to register domain names, because they're all inherent with the computer itself. So those that part has to use ELA because we need to create the token economy. Otherwise, how do we reward our miners? How do we make this smart web autonomous running? Otherwise, we don't really enforce people doing business, collecting whatever coins they wish. That's fine with us.
Regarding the D App Store, actually, I have an idea on this. We as a revolutionary to make the decentralized application, we are not going to be another. We just like kill the Apple, kill the Google store. We create a Elastos store. We're not going to do that. We actually encourage people to have their own app store. We actually have no limitation. You have to download the application from Elastos store. We may not do that. And also the new decentralized the air, we may have a different way to get the application. Typically right now you download the application from Apple Store, from the Google Play, but in the new decentralized world, likely you get an application from some other people, some people you know. Like for example, I using kind of an IAM system. I talk to another person and I want to another friend who happened to use that application to talk to me. I may just give the code directly through the P2P network to that guy, so that guy can talk to me, and he can send the application to some other people. Because all the application is signed by the developer, and also they transfer through the carrier network, so there's no chance for any kind of virus be injected into that binary. So it is a kind of safe, very secured way to get application. We remove the possibility to get injected by the virus. So this would be a new way to distribute the app. So either way, you can use. Of course, we will have a Elastos app store. We will, but it's not mandatory. You can have your own way to distribute your application. So that's my idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more question from the live stream, and the user is asking, the viewer is asking, will users be able to buy a unique name in a naming service similar to a Twitter handle that will be tied to their DID or public address?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. If you have a DID, then you want to buy a specific name, you just have to pay for it. But currently, we haven't done any work. We have a partner, a Chinese local partner, because helping us to do the KYC. Because if you want to launch your own macro websites in China, every websites, if you want to provide public service, you have to provide your real ID, the local ID, right? Registered with whatever the governing agency, and of course, so you have to have an interface with like a Union Pay in China, so verify your ID, or so you can receive money. But then that's only for the local market. We haven't have any partners like in the US or Europe yet. And secondly, we are thinking. I also have contact actually working at the domain name registration in China right now. He actually also volunteered to join us, and we probably want to reserve those popular domain names on the current internet. Like no one's supposed to take google.com except Google verifies they are Google, okay? Because I don't want people to fake Google or Microsoft or someone else for that matter.
Thanks. I have a final question from the live stream, and someone is asking, why won't the public mining open up before DApp development is intended to start? Will DApps have an incentive to develop before 2019?
DApps actually will start to build small DApps. As I said, we're going to have hackathon in 1 week or so. So and also at this time, since we don't have a DID, it's more like the peer-to-peer network kind of apps. But then after like July, in August timeframe, I can imagine people should be able to build some very simple JavaScript apps within the browser, the 0.1 versions of our runtime. So we should be able to support simple DIDs since from August. And but then at that time, I'm not sure if we could be ready to open up the because our public chain right now is running, but all the nodes are run by us. It's not really open for third party to put in more nodes or no more mining machines yet, because we're still doing the joint development with Bitmain. I've told actually development shouldn't be that hard. Technology should be there, but then since anything with because currently EL is trading at some market value, we cannot take it lightly. We have to be really serious about money. So.
Good. All right. So I think we had 6 questions here and 6 questions over there. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. This is the first San Francisco Developers Meetup. So we'll have more meetups in the future for our community and also developers. So definitely welcome you guys to join us again in the future. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you guys soon again. Thank you.